he is not ready for a relationship, and you're like, what I need to do, and all you have to do is follow these few steps that I'm going to give you right now, and it's going to bring you all the clarity that you need, because you put him in a position that he needs to find his clarity. Otherwise, you're probably gone. So if you're in a situation where the man is, the two of you are in this beautiful relationship-ish type dynamic, even though it's not quite labeled as this yet, and then every time you're kind of like trying to take it to the next level, he's like, I don't really want a relationship, I'm not quite ready to commit for XYZ reasons, it doesn't even matter what it is, then here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to understand, and you need to start to believe him and accept the fact that he might really not want a serious relationship. And I know this is tough, and I know this is not really what you want to hear here right now, but the reality is, if a man says, I don't want a committed relationship, the first thing you need to do is you need to believe him. He might not actually mean it, but if you don't believe him, then you end up in a situation where you follow like the 3 negative spiral loop that I defined. The first loop of this negative spiral is you find all the reasons and all the justifications and reasons why you should not believe him, why he's actually not telling you the truth. Now that puts you in a state of like actually starting to live in a potential illusion rather than staying in alignment with what's really present in reality. The second part of the loop is you tell yourself he just needs a little bit more time. If I just giving a little bit more time and we spend a little bit more time together and we have some more adventures and some more and I do XYZ and all these other things, then over time he will finally realize that I am the right partner for him as well, because I feel it so strongly that we are in a committed relationship that he just needs to get to the next stage himself. That's the second part of the loop. It's not going to really work out. And then the third part of this negative loop is you continue to give him the girlfriend treatment and everything else that is connected to it without him actually needing to commit to you seriously. He doesn't even need to choose you fully because you already give him everything. He gets everything that he wants. You give him everything that he desires, and you two of you actually everything, because that's just what you desire as well. But this is a problem, because why would anyone commit to anything more seriously if they already get everything that they want in the current situation that they're already in? You get the point? If there's no change for the man in terms of the relationship between not committing and committing, why would he change anything? Why would he go into a committed situation that potentially puts some boundaries and some corners and, and it's like, no, why would he do that, right? So what do you need to do? First of all, you need to take your control back. You need to take your power back. The reason why I say this is because basically your life is kind of on hold. You pause your life, and you pause your relationship and your aspirations and desires that you have for the relationship and the partnership because you're just waiting along. You're waiting for him to make a decision so that your life can move forward. And that's a big, big problem. And I think now you can already see why this is not really an empowered position for yourself to be in. So therefore, we need to end the waiting game. And you need to very clearly define what is it that you really desire. This is something that you don't need to communicate straight away to him, but you need to get very clear what is it that you really desire. Are you really happy and content with the situation that you're in right now with this man? Where like everything is kind of like a relationship, but he doesn't really have to choose you fully and commit to you fully and 100%, then okay, if this is not what you want, then there need to be some shifts and changes that need to happen. And obviously that starts with you. Nothing is going to change unless you're willing to change. So what are the action steps? One, yes, you want to get very clear. And then you want to help him to find his clarity, because clearly he's not 100% sure. Either he is 100% sure, you just don't want to believe it because he says like, I don't want a committed relationship. Okay, cool. But then you don't want to be in a situation and in a relationship where basically everything is like a relationship and yet you don't really want to commit fully. So then that's not the type of relationship that you're looking for, and you need to be willing to accept that. Or maybe he is a little bit confused. Maybe even says that, I'm just not 100% sure. Like, I had my bad experiences in the past and there's so much stuff going on in my life. I can't really think about this, blah, 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 blah. All of this doesn't really matter. Because at the end of the day, if you're very clear of what you want, then the next step is to help him, if he doesn't have that clarity, to help him to find that clarity. Which brings me to today's sponsor. If you're stuck, lost, or confused when it comes to your relationship with men, and you don't know how to communicate your needs to him in a way that makes you feel seen, loved, and heard, then you must see this. Since every woman's personality and circumstance is so unique and so special to you, we have a free relationship assessment quiz that you can take in the link below. That quiz will give you a customizable action plan to give you the love that you deserve, because you're worthy of it and you do deserve it so, so much. So take our free relationship assessment quiz right now, and now back to the video. How do you do that? That's the next part, right? So first of all, you need to start to have an open conversation with him about these things. And I know sometimes these can be a little bit more confronting or uncomfortable, because you feel like if you bring it up again, if you tell him like, hey, what about like, some commitment and us being like actually in a serious relationship, and maybe you already got like, a couple of times where he's just not responding very well to this, and he's like, man, do we have to talk about this again? And there's some fear, right? You might lose him. There's some fear of like, or ending in some sort of conflicting conversation with each other. I understand that. But at the end of the day, if you follow this process that I'm going to give you right now, how to get the clarity that you want and how to help him to find the clarity that he needs, it's going to help you moving forward in the situation of him not wanting to commit. So the first thing that you want to do is, it's like, hey, look, I realize we kind of plateaued in our relationship and, whatever we're doing here right now. And I really want your happiness. I really respect you. I love you. I care for you. And all I want is for you to be happy. But at the same time, all I want is also to be happy and to be fulfilled. And therefore, I realize what I really desire, and I mentioned this before, is I want someone who chooses me fully. I want someone who's 100% committed to me. And right now, in the situation that we're in, I just don't really feel that. So in some ways, it seems like there's a little bit of a lack of clarity what you really want, because on one hand, we have all of this, and on the other hand, there's this like lack of commitment. So I think the best, what I would suggest, is actually for us to have a little bit of space for you to find whatever it is that you desire, that you want, and what makes you really happy. And I'm going to do the same. And then once you find that clarity, whatever this is for you, then I would obviously love for you to let me know, and in an ideal way, like we're coming to a place of like, yes, we want the same thing. We want a committed relationship with each other. We want this 100% truth and this 100% of choosing each other. And I hope whenever you find that clarity and you arrive at that point, that I'm still going to be around and I'm still in the same space of an energy to take this to the next level. If you say something like that, he's going to say, whoa, what just dropped on me? Right? Not in a way of like, oh my God, you just like you dropped the bomb on him, but like, oh shit, I need to figure my shit out, because otherwise there's a situation, because I might lose her. Here's why this works, what I just shared with you as a template of how you can respond and what you need to say to him if he really just doesn't want to commit. One, it's powerful because you don't really give him an ultimatum. You don't say like, hey, if you don't make a decision until next week and you find this clarity that you want, then I'm gonna be gone. That's not what it is, right? And that doesn't really work very well. However, you're showcasing very clearly what you want and desire, and you're literally taking your power back in order to get what you want. It might not be with him. And as hard and as tough as this might be, but at the end of the day, you're going to be okay with this because you know what you want here. And right now, whatever it is that the two of you have here is not quite that. So you're willing to move away from this without even saying this, but you're willing to move away from this because what you really want is this. You want that 100% commitment and a partner that chooses you 100% truly, fully, all the time. And this is just not that. That's more like a relationship with all the perks of the relationship and having a girlfriend and having a partner without actually needing to commit to it. It is also great because at the same time, you're avoiding any pressure on his end. Like, he can take as much time as he wants. Like I said, there's no ultimatum. But who knows if you're still going to be around? Who knows if you're still going to be in the same vibe, in the same energy, and in the same state of wanting to be with him whenever he's going to find his clarity or not, right? So, as I said, you take your power back and you imply, hey, I want this, but ultimately, I want someone who's with me fully. And if this is not you, I get it. It's okay, but I'm gonna find that man who is. And then I think it's really, really important to, let go of the outcome. Like, don't fear the outcome, because you're willing to embrace the change. You're willing to trust that the right man that is willing to commit and choose you fully is going to come into your life. If it's not him, that's unfortunate. It hurts. It's painful because we have to go through this change and re-identifying ourselves with who we are outside of that relationship. But you know who you are. You know what you want. You know what you desire, and you're willing to go for it. And you trust. You trust yourself. You trust your confidence. You trust the universe. You trust life in order for you to get what you really desire. And right now, you're holding on to something that's not quite the thing that you ultimately do desire. And you're willing to accept that. And you're also willing to let him go so he can find his happiness, if that's really what he's looking for, if he's really not interested in a committed relationship. And that's actually beautiful, to have him put into a position that he is maybe not the right one for you, that he is maybe making decisions of still not wanting to be with you fully committed in a relationship. But then you have all the clarity in the world of actually finally create that space, moving on from him and allowing to bring someone into your field that actually wants to be with you. And that's why this approach works so well. So if you follow these steps of one, believing him, and then going through the template, because you know what you desire, and then going through this template of what you need to say to him and how you need to say it to him and why it works, then you stepping into the right energy and creating the right chances and opportunities for yourself, that either he will find this clarity and is actually willing to commit to you 100% because you're just not willing to play along anymore, or there's an element of like, okay, there are some bigger shifts and changes that happen here in my life and my relationships right now, because I trust the fact that I want a man who wants to choose me and is willing to choose me and commit to me fully. Try it. It will work. Either way, you can only win.